Copy that. PD advising they did hear an explosion. This does have history of drug house use.
There's so many rewarding situations that I've been involved in. And, you know, it's not the big things you have to do necessarily. It's not the big, massive calls that you go on. It's just making people happy. And the look on their face when they smile after you've done a good deed for them. And that's what makes it all go round.
And Menlo Park is just a very unique place. We have very high standards. We have very high expectations of ourselves, of each other. We expect there to be excellence in everything we do. And we're a very proud organization, and we take great pride in producing a quality service for the citizens. And we hold ourselves to that very high standard because we know that's what the community expects of us.
Truly proud to admit that I once was a Menlo Park firefighter.
My date of hire was December 25, 1953. I retired July 15th of 1987.
I worked for Menlo Park Fire District for 38 years, exactly to the day. I started in 1973 and I retired in 2011.
Menlo Park Fire Protection District, hired in 1951, July 4th, 1951. I retired as the Assistant Fire Chief on December 28th, 1985.
My name is Rich Villa. I was hired April 4th, 2002, and I work for Menlo Park Fire.
Harold Chappelhonen, Fire Chief. I was hired June 16th, 1981. So it's almost my 37th year anniversary.
My dad worked for Menlo Park Fire for 30 years. It was a no-brainer for me. I wanted to do this ever since I saw him in the department.
I was born in 1935, and at that time my father was a firefighter, and he worked in the station on Merrill Street, 1077 Merrill. And for my first 2 years of life, I spent those 2 years in a home, and a rented home next to the fire station at 1077 Merrill. So I'm kind of born into the fire service, you might say.
To me, it's the world. I wanted nothing more to do than to be a Menlo Park firefighter. Like I said, watching my dad do this my entire life, it was an honor to take on this position and wear this badge.
Yeah, when I hired on in 1973, the hiring process was a little different. It was just an oral examination. It wasn't a written. It wasn't a physical agility.
You would go before the chief and face to face, and he'd ask you some questions, a little bit about your background, and within a day or two you got a phone call, you were either hired or not.
It was special early on. They had a good reputation. Menlo Park Fire had a real good reputation in the county for its people, for its training above a lot of the different departments. Menlo Park, even to this day, has a good reputation, and it's obviously proven to be a good place to work.
Well, there's a lot of things that make it special, but the tradition that we hold on to, I believe, is what makes it the most special. We hold fast in our traditions and our training values.
I think we hire really good people, and good people do good things.
Menlo Park Fire is special because of the people, but moreover, it's the training that we received. The training was always a big issue with us, and that set us apart from many, many departments, and we had a great reputation through those years, and I'm sure it's still the same today.
I really truly think, and from working for 3 other fire departments before I got here, what really impressed me was just the amount of dedication. The amount of training was absolutely different and above par from the other fire departments that I worked in, and how serious the guys were. So, you know, with us being involved in all the rescue stuff that we are involved in, with the water rescue stuff, you know, we do a lot of specialized rescue training. just other areas, structure, firefighting, EMS. We take training very, very serious.
We have so many intelligent, knowledgeable, talented, and dedicated individuals that work here. And when those people come together and form a team and work together as a team, it's amazing what they accomplish.
The culture here at Menlo Park Fire reaches home. It reaches home for us. We have two families. We have our family at home and we have our family here. We did everything together. We were like immediately best friends, and everybody has their best friends before they come to the fire service, and maybe they keep those best friends. But one thing that I just thought about this a couple years ago, was I didn't even realize that it happened, but all of my best friends work for the fire department. Most of them work for Menlo Park Fire Department, and it's a trip.
The culture here now is honestly a second family. We get together on our days off, we go to each other's children's birthday parties.
And our families spent time together. We played baseball together, we played softball together, basketball, picnics, we went camping together. It was a very together atmosphere.
From the park, Atherton, extremes on both ends, and then the functions that or the services that we provide. There's no fire department that I can see that really provides what we do.
See, Menlo Park is very special. I grew up in Menlo Park. Everything I did was in Menlo Park. I played football, played basketball, played baseball, ran track, wrestled in Menlo Park. I coach in Menlo Park. Everything I do is Menlo Park. And rightfully so, because Menlo Park is awesome. It really is.
I'll never forget my first fire. It was on Emmett Way, Christmas morning of 2002. I was 6 months into probation working on engine 6, and it was about 5:30 in the morning. We got called out for a residential structure fire.
The single RP advises the back of the house is on fire with flames seen. Another RP is unable to describe or advise the source.
As we were driving there, it went to a second alarm, so we knew it was going to be a big fire. We've been listening to some of the radio traffic, and when we arrived on scene, we were informed that there were 2 missing children. The engine I was on was assigned to search, and we went in. We didn't have thermal imaging cameras at the time. We didn't even have a hose line. All the hose lines were already taken off of engine 2 and engaged in active firefighting. And so we went in and searched, did a left-handed search. It was very smoky, you couldn't see anything. It was very hot, it was loud, a lot of commotion. And this is really where I learned about accountability, as my crew, the 3 of us, got separated almost immediately. I wound up finding my engineer a little while later in the hallway, where we actually discovered one of the victims. And from that point we were able to grab the child and bring him outside and get him into the ambulance.
It was garage fire, East Palo Alto, normal garage, and we entered in twice. The first time we went in the man door into the garage, it was hot, and as I came back, everything just kind of went black. And for whatever reason, the fire kind of seemed to have got an influx of oxygen.
We had 2 fatalities in that fire. I think about that fire just about every single day. I learned a lot from that fire, and I wouldn't say it haunts me, but it reminds me of what this job entails sometimes, and that is, the darker image or the darker things we see. and the situations that we don't want to have to deal with. We get excited going to fires, and we like doing our job and putting out fires, but then there's the other side of things that have a tragic end to them. And that's one of the parts of this career that you just live with and learn the process, is that not everything ends well.
My first fire with Menlo Park, I do recall it. It was a small Eichler single-story house in East Palo Alto, and yeah, it was a pretty good cooking little fire, and I got my name Mongo out of that fire. I was on probation, and I was just trying to prove to everybody that I was worthy of being here.
For me, it was always the children. You know, the drownings. Went to a lot of drownings, a lot of SIDS calls.
First month in the fire service, I think we had 3 fatalities, and in fires, and a couple of bad accidents in what they used to call the bloody bayshore at that time. And after a month of that, I wasn't sure whether I was doing the right thing or not, but I stuck with it, and it became a big part of my life, and still is.
I just remember sitting in the back of the rig, cheesy, grin, ear to ear, and rightfully so. I'm going to a fire. I can't believe this. I'm a firefighter. And it's so surreal because you work so hard to get this job. You work so hard to be in the place that you want to be in the place that you are, be in that back seat as a rider, knowing you're about to pull a line, knowing you're about to get something, knowing you're about to go do your job.
Advice I would give a new firefighter just beginning their career is to keep their mouth shut and their ears open.
Just listen to your captain, because his experience and the individuals we have in those positions here at Menlo Park are second to none with that. They take their job incredibly seriously, and it's part of the culture that we have that sets Menlo Park Fire apart.
I think people pay attention because there's a quality to the people that work here, and there's just a progressive mentality and attitude, and it's truly about delivering superior service.
Advice for new firefighters, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but enjoy every minute of your career. Enjoy every minute, because it goes by fast. Find new ways to help the public. Find new ways to justify our job, okay? And in your personal life, balance it out. Balance it out. Balance out your family with your job, with your fun.
This profession, you guys coming in, the advice I give them, this profession is amazing. You can spend every day of your life here and be fulfilled.
This is the best career. You're able to, raise your family, and it's a very respected career. Without a doubt. I mean, just it's just very rewarding.
There hasn't been a day go by in my life when I haven't, cherished the experience that I had here.
At the end of the day, it's people, right? So it's how you treat people. And I believe, and I know because it gets reinforced, that we treat people very well here. And that's the highest litmus test. At the end of the day, it's all about, where the rubber meets the road. You're only as good as your last call. And we really do give superior service.
This career, you hear it from everyone, it's a cliche that it's the best job in the world, but it truly, really is. You have an extended family.
Enjoy every spot because it only lasts so long.